Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're doing something absolutely incredible. We're literally going to design and install a powerful new software update right into your mind. You know that overwhelming frustration of just not being known, or when the simple act of talking totally drains you? Well, this update is built specifically for you. We're installing what we call an inner social initiator, a brand new mental part designed to make communicating, expanding your vocabulary, and actually feeling understood feel, well, completely effortless.
Okay, here's our installation checklist for today. We'll start with your current system state, then design the primer part, walk through the actual installation process, upgrade your RAM and libraries, and finally, look at achieving system independence. Right, let's jump right into Section 1. Current system state, validating your internal firewall. So, have you ever wondered why trying to explain yourself, or honestly just interacting with people, sometimes causes a total system shutdown? It is absolutely crucial to realize right off the bat that your sudden tiredness, your voice dropping in volume, or that urge to just look away, it's not a flaw. You are not broken. It's actually your internal operating system brilliantly protecting itself from a buffer overflow. Your system is just stepping in to keep you safe from response overload. Think about your pre-shutdown telemetry. When your volume drops and you can only push out single words, or when your latency increases, taking way longer to respond, or you catch yourself doing those empty gaze shifts, you aren't failing to connect. The reality? Your mental processor is just pegged at 100% utilization. You're doing the hard work, and your brain simply needs a wait state to cool down. This brings us to a really fascinating disconnect between what the world sees and what your system is actually doing. When people see you looking away, you're really just accessing your internal hard drive to find the right words. When they see silence, you're actually allocating RAM to process the interaction. And in those extreme moments of exhaustion, what might look to others like narcolepsy, just shutting down, is really a thermal shutdown. Your brain is initiating a graceful log-off to prevent permanent hardware damage from the sheer effort of communicating. Moving on to Section 2, designing the primer part, blueprint for your background helper. To take all that massive pressure off your main system, we are going to design a new, highly efficient internal part just for you. We call it the primer. In software terms, we're spinning up a daemon process. Now, what's a daemon process? It's a super low-energy background helper that runs totally independently of your main conscious thoughts. This new part of you is going to safely initiate simple conversations in low-stakes context. Think coffee shops, libraries, without draining your main battery or causing a crash. So, how does this primer actually work? Well, your legacy system waited for a response to validate the interaction, kind of like a heavy TCP handshake in computer networking. And honestly, that takes way too much energy. Your new primer part uses a UDP push. You don't wait for a response, you don't have to carry the conversation, you are simply practicing your outbound transmission. You might just say, "The weather is shifting today," and that's it, completely pressure-free. All right, Section 3, the installation process coding your inner initiator. Now we actually get to compile and code your new inner initiator. We're using foundational neurolinguistic programming, or NLP frameworks designed by Richard Bandler and John Grinder. To install this part, you'll follow these exact steps. First, identify your desired outcome. You want to initiate low-stakes interactions. Second, step right inside a mental fantasy movie of that action. Literally feel your vocal cords vibrate as you push the words out. Third, we run an ecological safety check. And finally, we test and future-pace the part so it runs automatically for you. That third step, the safety check, is absolutely vital. You need to ask yourself, does any part object to my having a part which will be in charge of making that fantasy a reality? You see, your old, quiet part, it was beautifully designed to protect you from embarrassment and energy drain. We have to negotiate with it. We need to make sure this legacy part understands that the new primer has the exact same positive intent. It'll still protect you, but it's going to do it through smooth social calibration instead of exhausting silence.
Next up is Section 4, upgrading RAM and libraries, balancing energy and vocabulary.
Once your primer is installed, this upgrade goes right after that frustrating feeling of not being known. It fundamentally restructures how your brain processes language using the dual-axis latency model. Think of RAM as the intense energy cost it takes to formulate and push out words. And think of your libraries as your cached vocabulary, all those complex sentences you actually want to use. Right now, trying to explain your feelings is eating up way too much RAM. That's exactly why your files get compressed down into exhausted single-word answers. But here's the magic. As your primer runs silently in the background, making those little UDP pushes, your internal libraries automatically start caching new words. Over time, the RAM required to speak just plummets. Because the energy cost drops so much, forming complex sentences is soon going to cost your system almost zero RAM. You'll literally find yourself effortlessly using fuller, richer sentences simply because your system isn't overheating anymore.
And we can actually speed this whole process up by externalizing the library. When you're out navigating social situations, your communication partner can offer you simple binary options. They might ask, "Are you feeling acceptable or excellent?" By letting them supply the complex words, you move your brain from high-cost retrieval to low-cost recognition. You literally just pick the word that fits. It's a genius way to effortlessly cache new vocabulary without you doing any of the heavy computational lifting. Finally, Section 5, Achieving System Independence, Navigating Socially with Confidence. Let's take a look at your final output and how these microactions lead you straight to total, confident social independence. Your confidence is about to skyrocket because you'll stop viewing your quirks as bugs. A low-volume word, a gaze shift, a shrug, they're no longer failures. They are intelligent, manageable steps in your incremental workflow. When you shift your gaze, you'll know for sure you're just taking a safe, wait state to let your CPU cool down. You are calling the shots. You're in total control. And please remember this, even if you still get exhausted after a conversation, that exhaustion is not a failure. Success is measured by the graceful shutdown, not the absence of tiredness. That tiredness is basically a read receipt proving your brand new software ran flawlessly. You powered down safely because, well, you powered up brilliantly. So you've got the blueprint. With your new primer part successfully humming away in the background, your energy is finally freed up, your vocabulary is expanding, and those complex sentences are going to start flowing with total ease. As you step out with this newly installed confidence, the only question left is, what amazing new social programs will you choose to run next?